In the vastness of space, a mysterious red spot defies all known laws of physics. What seemed like an ordinary celestial phenomenon turned out to be humanity's greatest discovery and its most perilous mystery. A team of scientists ventures into the unknown, where reality bends and time fractures. But what lies beyond the Crimson Portal? Could it be salvation, or is it destruction? Brace yourself for a journey that will redefine everything you know about existence. This is Red Vortex, the Dimensional Enigma Dash. Subscribe now to uncover the secrets hidden within the cosmos. The spaceship hung silently in orbit around a planet shrouded in swirling clouds of deep crimson and obsidian black. Its surface was obscured by layers of dense atmosphere, but one feature stood out: an enormous red spot, larger than any storm system ever recorded in human history. For centuries, astronomers had speculated about its nature, debating whether it was a massive vortex, a geological anomaly, or something entirely alien. Now, a team of explorers from Earth prepared to descend into the heart of this enigma. Their vessel, named Erebus Dash, gleamed with sleek metallic panels designed to withstand extreme conditions. Inside, monitors displayed streams of data collected during their approach. Sensors revealed fluctuations in gravitational fields emanating from the red spot, suggesting movement far too complex for natural phenomena. Scientists aboard whispered theories. Some believed it might be a gateway to another dimension, while others dismissed such ideas as fanciful nonsense. Yet curiosity burned brightly among them, driving them closer to the source of the mystery. As the ship descended through turbulent skies, flashes of lightning illuminated jagged peaks below. The air crackled with energy, and instruments faltered under the strain of unpredictable forces. Each second brought new challenges, forcing the crew to recalibrate systems on the fly. Despite advanced technology, they felt small and vulnerable against the raw power of the planet's environment. It was clear that whatever awaited them would test not only their intellect, but also their courage. The descent was harrowing, with turbulence rocking the ship violently. Alarms blared intermittently as systems struggled to compensate for the chaotic atmospheric conditions. Outside, the red glow grew brighter, casting eerie shadows across the cockpit. The crew exchanged glances, their faces pale but determined. They had trained for years for this moment, yet nothing could truly prepare them for the awe-inspiring spectacle unfolding before their eyes. As they broke through the final layer of clouds, the red spot loomed large, pulsating with an otherworldly rhythm that seemed almost alive. Touchdown came with a jolt as landing struts absorbed the impact of descent onto rocky terrain. Outside, winds howled like living entities, carrying particles of dust that glowed faintly red under dim sunlight filtered through thick cloud cover. The landscape stretched endlessly, barren yet hauntingly beautiful, marked by ridges and valleys carved over millennia by forces unimaginable. At the horizon loomed the red spot, pulsating rhythmically, almost hypnotically, drawing eyes toward its center. Inside the ship, preparations began immediately. Equipment crates were unpacked, suits checked, and communication devices tested repeatedly. Every step was deliberate, each action calculated to ensure survival in this hostile environment. The crew moved with precision, their movements synchronized after months of training. Yet beneath their calm exteriors lay a simmering tension, a mix of excitement and fear. They knew they were about to embark on a journey that could alter humanity's understanding of the universe forever. The first steps onto the planet's surface were tentative, each footfall sinking slightly into the soft, red-tinged soil. The ground felt strange beneath their boots, almost spongy, as if it were alive. Instruments confirmed high levels of electromagnetic activity, which explained the peculiar sensation. The air, though breathable thanks to advanced filtration systems in their suits, carried a metallic tang that made every breath feel heavy. The wind whipped around them, carrying whispers of sound that seemed almost intentional, as if the planet itself were trying to communicate. The red spot dominated the horizon, its size dwarfing even the tallest mountains. Up close, it was even more mesmerizing. The edges shimmered like liquid fire, shifting colors between deep crimson and molten gold. Waves of energy radiated outward in slow, rhythmic pulses, creating an aura of both beauty and danger. The crew set up monitoring equipment at a safe distance, careful not to get too close. Even from afar, the intensity of the spot was overwhelming, making it difficult to focus on anything else. Initial scans revealed anomalies that defied explanation. Time dilation effects were detected near the edges of the red spot, causing clocks to run slower and faster unpredictably. Gravity fluctuated wildly, pulling objects toward the spot one moment and repelling them the next. These findings confirmed earlier suspicions. This was no ordinary phenomenon. It was something far beyond human comprehension, a force that bent the very fabric of reality. As the team worked, they couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. Shadows flitted at the edge of vision, disappearing when directly observed. Strange patterns etched into the ground suggested intelligent design, though no signs of civilization were visible. Theories swirled among the crew. Was this place abandoned? Or were they being tested? Each unanswered question only deepened the mystery, fueling their determination to uncover the truth. Hours passed as they gathered data, their instruments recording everything from temperature changes to radiation levels. Yet despite their best efforts, some readings remained inconsistent, as if the planet itself resisted analysis. Frustration mounted, but so did resolve. They had come too far to turn back now. With each passing moment, the red spot seemed to grow larger, its pull stronger, beckoning them closer to its core. The decision to venture nearer to the red spot was not made lightly. After hours of debate and risk assessment, the team agreed that staying at a distance would yield limited results. Equipped with reinforced suits and portable shielding devices, they approached cautiously, their footsteps muffled by the strange soil. The closer they got, the more pronounced the effects became. Gravity shifts tugged at their bodies, forcing them to adjust their balance constantly. Time distortions played tricks on their perception, making seconds stretch into minutes and vice versa. At the edge of the spot, the air vibrated with energy, creating a low hum that resonated in their bones. Colors danced across their visors, disorienting but mesmerizing. The boundary between solid ground and the swirling vortex blurred, making it impossible to tell where one ended and the other began. It was here that they discovered the first clue, a series of intricate symbols embedded in the ground, glowing faintly with the same crimson hue as the spot itself. These markings bore no resemblance to any known language, yet their symmetry hinted at purposeful design. Further investigation revealed additional patterns scattered around the perimeter. Some were carved into rocks, others etched into the soil, all aligned perfectly with the spot's center. The crew documented every detail meticulously, hoping to decipher their meaning later. Meanwhile, their instruments continued to malfunction, readings spiking erratically before dropping to zero. It was as if the spot resisted scrutiny, guarding its secrets fiercely. Despite the challenges, the team pressed on, driven by a mix of scientific curiosity and primal instinct. Something about the red spot called to them, urging them forward. Whether it was a trick of the mind or a genuine connection remained unclear, but the pull was undeniable. As they crossed the threshold into the outermost layer of the vortex, reality itself began to warp. Shapes twisted and morphed, colors bled together, and sounds echoed from nowhere and everywhere at once. This was uncharted territory, a place where the rules of physics no longer applied. Fear mingled with exhilaration as they realized they were standing on the precipice of discovery or disaster. Behind them, the ship appeared impossibly distant, its silhouette distorted by the swirling energies. Ahead, the red spot loomed larger than ever, its core pulsating with an intensity that promised answers, and perhaps consequences, they could scarcely imagine. The deeper they ventured into the red vortex, the more surreal their surroundings became. The ground beneath their feet seemed to ripple like liquid, yet it supported their weight without giving way. Each step produced faint ripples that spread outward in concentric circles, as if the planet itself were alive and responding to their presence. The air grew heavier, charged with static electricity that crackled audibly even through their suits. Their instruments, already erratic, began producing readings that defied logic, negative temperatures, inverted gravity fields, and time loops that caused them to relive moments over and over again. The symbols they had discovered earlier now appeared everywhere, glowing brighter as they approached the core of the vortex. These markings pulsed in sync with the spot's rhythm, creating an unsettling harmony that resonated deep within their minds. It wasn't just visual, it was visceral, a sensation that transcended sight and sound. Some members of the team reported hearing whispers, soft, unintelligible murmurs that seemed to emanate from inside their helmets. Others claimed to feel phantom touches, gentle yet insistent, urging them onward. At the center of the vortex, the crimson light intensified to near-blinding levels. Shapes began to form within the swirling energy, a kaleidoscope of shifting patterns that resembled both organic forms and geometric designs. The crew paused, overwhelmed by the sheer magnitude of what they were witnessing. This was no mere storm or anomaly. It was a living entity, a construct of pure energy that existed beyond the constraints of matter and time. Its purpose remained elusive, but its power was undeniable. As they edged closer, the boundary between reality and illusion dissolved completely. Objects floated in midair, rotating slowly before vanishing altogether. Shadows moved independently of their sources, twisting into impossible configurations. Time itself fractured, causing brief glimpses of alternate realities to flicker into existence. In one moment, they saw themselves standing on lush green fields under twin suns. In another, they witnessed a desolate wasteland where their ship lay in ruins. These visions came and went too quickly to comprehend fully, leaving only fragments of memory behind. Despite the chaos, the crew pressed forward, driven by an unspoken understanding that retreat was no longer an option. Whatever this place was, it demanded acknowledgement. And perhaps, in some way, it sought connection. The thought sent shivers down their spines, but there was no denying the sense of being watched, not by hostile forces, but by something ancient and incomprehensible, observing them with detached curiosity. Reaching the heart of the vortex required navigating through increasingly unstable terrain. Gravity shifted unpredictably, sometimes pulling them toward the center, other times flinging them sideways into walls of solidified energy. These barriers shimmered like glass, refracting light into dazzling arrays of color. Touching them elicited sharp jolts of pain, as if the energy resisted intrusion. Yet, paradoxically, the same barriers provided support when traversed carefully, acting as temporary platforms in the ever-changing landscape. The team's leader, Dr. Elena Voss, took charge, her voice steady despite the mounting tension. She directed each movement with precision, ensuring everyone stayed tethered together. The bonds between them weren't just physical. They represented trust forged during years of preparation and shared hardship. Without communication devices functioning reliably, hand signals and gestures became their primary means of coordination. Every action required absolute focus, every decision carrying life or death consequences. Near the core, the red light transformed into a spectrum of colors, blending seamlessly into hues of gold, violet, and emerald. These shifts corresponded with changes in the environment, moments of calm followed by bursts of chaotic activity. During lulls, the crew managed to collect samples using specialized tools designed to capture volatile materials. Though analysis would have to wait until they returned to the ship, preliminary scans indicated traces of exotic particles never before encountered in human science. But not all discoveries were benign. As they drew nearer, strange entities began manifesting around them. At first, these apparitions were vague outlines, indistinct shapes that flickered in and out of existence. Gradually, they coalesced into humanoid figures, translucent and shimmering with internal light. They didn't speak or gesture, merely observed silently, their presence both comforting and unnerving. Were they guardians, spectators, or projections of their own subconscious minds? The apparitions grew more defined as the crew neared the core, their forms stabilizing into recognizable shapes. Tall, slender beings with elongated limbs and featureless faces hovered just beyond reach, their bodies composed entirely of flowing energy. Their movements were fluid, almost hypnotic, as if choreographed to the pulsating rhythm of the vortex. Despite their ethereal appearance, they exuded an aura of intelligence and purpose, watching the intruders with unwavering attention. Dr. Voss hesitated, unsure whether to proceed or retreat. Her instincts screamed caution, but curiosity compelled her forward. Slowly, she extended a gloved hand toward one of the figures, testing the boundaries of interaction. To her astonishment, the entity mirrored her movement, raising its own appendage in response. When their fingertips met, or seemed to, the world around them froze. Time stopped, sound ceased, and the vortex contracted into a single point of blinding light. In that suspended moment, memories flooded her mind, visions of distant galaxies, civilizations long extinct, and futures yet unwritten. She saw humanity's past mistakes replayed in vivid detail, alongside potential paths forward. It was overwhelming, a torrent of information too vast for any single mind to process. Yet somehow, she retained fragments, enough to understand that the vortex was more than a portal. It was a nexus, a convergence point connecting countless realities. When the freeze lifted, the crew found themselves standing at the very edge of the core. The red light enveloped them completely, bathing everything in warm, radiant brilliance. Here, there was no fear, only awe. The apparitions dissolved into streams of energy, merging with the vortex itself. For the first time, the team felt a profound sense of unity, as if they were part of something infinitely greater than themselves. The core of the vortex revealed itself as a massive, spinning orb of liquid light, suspended in a void devoid of gravity or resistance. The orb pulsed rhythmically, emitting waves of energy that resonated through the crew's bodies. It was here that they finally understood the true nature of the red spot. It was not merely a phenomenon, but a sentient force, capable of thought and intent. Its purpose was unclear, but its power was absolute. Approaching the orb required shedding all external equipment. The suits, once vital for survival, now acted as barriers, preventing full immersion in the experience. One by one, the crew removed their gear, stepping naked into the unknown. The air, if it could be called that, was dense and warm, wrapping around them like a cocoon. Breathing felt unnecessary, replaced by a direct exchange of energy that sustained them effortlessly. Inside the orb, the distinction between individuality and collective consciousness blurred. Personal thoughts merged with those of others, creating a shared awareness that transcended language. Memories, emotions, and desires flowed freely, forming a tapestry of interconnected experiences. The crew realized they were not alone. Countless other beings had passed through this gateway, leaving echoes of their journeys behind. From this vantage point, the universe appeared as a web of infinite possibilities, each strand representing a different reality. Choices made in one timeline branched off into countless variations, creating parallel worlds that coexisted simultaneously. The vortex served as a bridge, allowing access to these dimensions, but also demanding balance. Those who entered must contribute something of value, lest they disrupt the delicate equilibrium. The realization that the vortex was collapsing struck the crew like a bolt of lightning. As they re-emerged from the core, their minds still reeling from the shared consciousness experience, subtle changes in the environment became impossible to ignore. The once stable orb of liquid light now flickered erratically, its rhythm disrupted by jagged pulses of energy. The crimson glow dimmed intermittently, replaced by ominous shadows that stretched across the void like grasping tendrils. Dr. Voss gathered the team, her voice trembling with urgency. "We need to act quickly," she said, her words carrying a weight that silenced even the most skeptical among them. "If this nexus collapses, it won't just destroy this planet. It could unravel every reality connected to it." Her explanation was met with stunned silence. The enormity of the situation settled over them like a suffocating blanket. They had come seeking answers, but instead, they found themselves burdened with an unimaginable responsibility. Their instruments confirmed the worst. The vortex's structural integrity was deteriorating at an accelerating rate. Energy readings spiked unpredictably, and gravitational anomalies intensified, making movement increasingly perilous. The apparitions that had guided them earlier returned, their forms now fragmented and unstable. These entities seemed desperate, communicating through bursts of emotion rather than coherent thought. Fear, sorrow, and resolve radiated from them, urging the humans to intervene. The team devised a plan, risky and untested, but their only hope. Using the ship's fusion reactor as a power source, they would attempt to stabilize the vortex by feeding it concentrated energy. It was a gamble. Too little energy might fail entirely, while too much could hasten the collapse. Worse still, the process required someone to remain inside the vortex, manually calibrating the energy flow to prevent catastrophic feedback loops. Whoever stayed behind would likely not survive. Debate erupted within the group as they grappled with the moral and practical implications of their decision. Each member wrestled with personal fears and doubts, knowing that volunteering meant certain death. Yet, none could deny the stakes. They were standing at the crossroads of existence itself. To abandon the vortex would be to condemn countless worlds to oblivion, including their own. Dr. Voss ultimately volunteered, her leadership instincts overriding self-preservation. "This is why we came here," she declared, her tone resolute despite the tears welling in her eyes. Not for glory, not for fame, but to protect what matters most. Her words resonated deeply, inspiring the others to support her without hesitation. Together, they prepared the equipment, their movements synchronized by years of training and trust. As they worked, the vortex continued to destabilize. Cracks appeared in the fabric of the orb, leaking streams of raw energy that danced chaotically before dissipating into nothingness. The air grew colder, and the once vivid colors faded into muted tones. Time itself seemed to fracture further, with entire minutes passing in the blink of an eye. The sense of impending doom was palpable, pressing down on them with crushing intensity. When everything was ready, Dr. Voss stepped forward, her suit equipped with additional shielding to withstand the intense radiation. She turned to face her teammates one last time, her expression a mixture of sorrow and determination. Without uttering another word, she activated the tether connecting her to the reactor and stepped into the heart of the vortex. Inside the vortex, Dr. Voss found herself enveloped by chaos. The orb pulsed wildly, its surface cracking under the strain of decay. Streams of energy lashed out unpredictably, threatening to tear her apart. She moved cautiously, her every step calculated to avoid triggering further instability. The apparitions surrounded her, their fragmented forms merging briefly to create protective barriers around her. Their presence was both comforting and heartbreaking, a reminder that she wasn't alone, even in this desolate place. Her task was daunting: recalibrate the energy input to restore balance. The controls were rudimentary, designed for use outside the vortex, and adapting them required improvisation. Every adjustment sent ripples through the orb, some stabilizing, others worsening the situation. Sweat poured down her face, her hands trembling as she fought to maintain focus. Failure wasn't an option, not when so much depended on her success. Outside, the rest of the crew monitored her progress anxiously. Their instruments provided limited data, distorted by the vortex's interference. All they could do was wait and pray, their hearts pounding in unison with the pulsating orb. Minutes stretched into eternity as they watched helplessly, unable to assist or intervene. Suddenly, a massive surge of energy erupted from the core, throwing Dr. Voss off balance. She stumbled, her body slamming against the shimmering walls of the vortex. Pain shot through her limbs, but she forced herself to stand, driven by sheer willpower. Summoning every ounce of strength, she made one final adjustment, channeling all available power into the orb. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, slowly, the cracks began to seal, the erratic pulses smoothing into a steady rhythm. The stabilization of the vortex brought a wave of relief, but it came at a cost. Dr. Voss collapsed, her body drained of energy. The apparitions converged around her, lifting her gently and guiding her toward the exit. As she emerged, her teammates rushed to her side, their faces etched with concern. Though weak and barely conscious, she managed a faint smile, her mission accomplished. But the victory was bittersweet. The vortex, though stable, had been permanently altered. Its connection to other realities had weakened, severing ties to countless dimensions. The crew realized they had saved their world, but at the expense of others. Guilt weighed heavily on them, a constant reminder of the sacrifices made in the name of survival. Back aboard the Erebus Dash, the mood was somber. They transmitted their findings to Earth, detailing the events and the choices they had faced. The message ended with a plea for humanity to tread carefully in its pursuit of knowledge. The universe was vast and mysterious, filled with wonders and dangers beyond comprehension. Respect for the unknown was paramount. The return journey to Earth was fraught with silence, each crew member lost in their own thoughts. The weight of what they had done and what they had sacrificed hung over them like a storm cloud. Though they had stabilized the vortex and saved countless realities, the knowledge that other dimensions had been severed from the nexus gnawed at their conscience. They had become both saviors and destroyers, their actions irrevocably altering the fabric of existence. Dr. Voss, though physically recovering, remained withdrawn. Her eyes often drifted to the viewport, staring into the infinite void of space as if searching for answers or solace. She replayed every moment inside the vortex in her mind, questioning whether there had been another way, a choice she might have missed. The apparition's final act of guiding her out had felt less like assistance and more like forgiveness, a gesture that only deepened her guilt. She wondered if they understood the magnitude of what had been lost, or if they even cared. The rest of the crew grappled with their emotions in different ways. Some threw themselves into analyzing data, hoping to uncover hidden insights that might justify their decisions. Others retreated into solitude, avoiding conversation altogether. Meals were eaten in near silence, the camaraderie they once shared replaced by an unspoken tension. The Erebus felt smaller than ever, its metal walls closing in around them as the days stretched on. Yet amidst the somber atmosphere, moments of reflection emerged. Late at night, when the hum of the ship's engines lulled them into quiet contemplation, they began to share fragments of their experiences within the vortex. Each person described it differently. Some recalled overwhelming beauty, others profound terror, but all agreed on one thing. The vortex had changed them. It had stripped away pretenses, forcing them to confront their deepest fears and desires. In doing so, it revealed truths about themselves they could never unsee. When the Erebus finally entered Earth's orbit, the crew was greeted not with fanfare, but with cautious curiosity. News of their mission had spread during their absence, fueled by cryptic transmissions sent back to headquarters. Governments and scientific organizations clamored for details, eager to understand the implications of their discovery. But the crew knew better than to oversimplify what they had witnessed. The vortex defied explanation. It was a paradox, a miracle, and a warning all at once. Their debriefing sessions were exhaustive, conducted under tight security to prevent leaks. Scientists grilled them for hours, demanding precise measurements, diagrams, and theories. Politicians pressed for assurances that such a phenomenon wouldn't threaten humanity again. Yet no amount of data or analysis could capture the essence of the vortex. Words failed to convey its majesty, its danger, and its mystery. Even Dr. Voss, whose calm demeanor usually commanded respect, struggled to articulate the emotional toll of their journey. Public reaction was mixed. Some hailed the crew as heroes who had risked everything to protect humanity. Others criticized their methods, questioning the ethics of severing connections to unknown dimensions. Conspiracy theories abounded, speculating that the vortex was a weapon, a divine artifact, or evidence of extraterrestrial intervention. The crew tried to ignore the noise, focusing instead on documenting their findings for future generations. They hoped that someday, humanity would be ready to approach such mysteries with wisdom rather than fear. Despite the scrutiny, the crew found solace in knowing they had made the right decision, even if it came at great personal cost. Their actions ensured the survival of their world, but they also bore the burden of knowing they had altered the course of countless others. This duality haunted them, a reminder of the delicate balance between creation and destruction. In the months following their return, the crew went their separate ways, each struggling to reintegrate into normal life. For some, the transition was impossible. Dr. Voss resigned from her position, retreating to a remote cabin where she spent her days writing about the vortex. Her journals became a testament to the experience, blending scientific observations with philosophical musings. She wrote not to explain the unexplainable, but to preserve the wonder of it, hoping to inspire future explorers to approach the unknown with humility. Others channeled their energy into advocacy, speaking publicly about the importance of responsible exploration. They warned against hubris, urging humanity to tread carefully when venturing beyond its borders. Their message resonated with many, sparking debates about the ethical boundaries of scientific discovery. Should humanity seek to unlock every mystery, or were some secrets meant to remain hidden? For all their efforts, however, the crew couldn't escape the lingering sense that their story was incomplete. Dreams of the vortex continued to haunt them, vivid and visceral. In these dreams, they revisited the core, reliving the moments before stability was restored. Sometimes, the outcome changed. They succeeded without loss, or they failed entirely, waking in a cold sweat as reality unraveled around them. These visions blurred the line between memory and imagination, leaving them unsure of what was real and what was fabricated by their subconscious minds. Years passed, and the red vortex faded from public consciousness, reduced to a footnote in history books. Yet for those who had stood at its threshold, it remained a living presence, etched into their souls. The lessons they had learned transcended time and space, shaping their perspectives long after the event itself had receded into memory. Dr. Voss eventually published her journals, titled The Red Enigma, A Journey Beyond Dash. The book became a cornerstone of interdimensional studies. inspiring new generations of scientists and philosophers. Its final passage encapsulated the paradox of their discovery. The universe is vast, and we are small. Yet within our smallness lies the potential for greatness, for connection, understanding, and sacrifice. To explore the unknown is to embrace both wonder and responsibility. And perhaps, in doing so, we find not just answers, but meaning. As the years turned to decades, rumors surfaced of strange phenomena occurring near the planet where the vortex had been found. Ships reported anomalies, temporal distortions, gravitational fluctuations, and sightings of glowing red lights. Some claimed the vortex had reawakened, while others believed it had simply moved, seeking new guardians. Whether truth or myth, these stories kept the legacy of the Erebus crew alive, a reminder that the cosmos still held secrets waiting to be uncovered. And so, the journey continues, for humanity, for science, and for those brave enough to venture into the unknown. What lies beyond the next horizon? Only time will tell. Subscribe now to stay tuned for more adventures that challenge the boundaries of imagination and explore the infinite wonders of the universe.